Welcome back to From Root to Crown with Rebe. Today we are going to be talking about and both. This is an idea of the power that comes from allowing yourself to feel conflicting emotions at the same time. I know there are a lot of instances in my own life where I have felt two things that seemed very much at odds with each other at the same time. Some of the most common feelings or emotions that I have felt myself and worked with clients on is allowing yourself to feel grief and joy at the same time. Allowing yourself to feel like something is hard and also feeling very blessed and recognizing that a lot of things are going well for you in a certain instance, or feeling grief and relief at the same times. So I want to spend some time here today talking about how we can integrate these two feelings, or at least just allow ourselves to feel both of these feelings. The problem when you shut yourself off from, oh, I shouldn't feel bad about this, or I'm not allowed to feel bad about this, or on the opposite side, that I should feel sad, I should be grieving, I should be in it. And also I'm laughing and finding moments of joy and connection with my loved ones. I shouldn't be feeling that. The problem with blocking yourself from one side of those emotions is you're actually blocking yourself from feeling all of the emotions. And if you don't allow yourself the space to feel those emotions, to name them and have a moment with each of those, then they just get stuck in your system. This is the basis of what a lot of trauma is, what trauma becomes. It's not that the feeling is overwhelming, it's that you get stuck in the feeling, or you didn't have the tools or someone there to help you process that feeling. You didn't allow yourself to see it. And so it gets stuck in our body, and we get stuck in this loop of our body sending us the signals that we should still be feeling that feeling, because we never allowed ourselves to fully process it in the first place. So what we're going to do here today is just walk through some really basic things that you can do. And then we're going to end with a gentle breath work mini meditation session to give yourself a visual, a roadmap to follow when these types of situations come up, because they will. This is life. It is messy. Being a human means feeling all the feelings all at once sometimes. So I want to give you the tools that you need in order to move through them and allow all of them to exist within you simultaneously. The first thing that I want to say is that this is a really normal experience, right? We feel feelings, and we can feel multiple things at the same time. You are not the only one who is finding joy in deep periods of grief. That's finding the silver lining to the rain clouds, or who is very happy, celebrating maybe a milestone or reaching something big, and also feeling sad or conflicted about what you just achieved, maybe what you gave up in order to achieve it. All of those are normal feelings. It's normal to feel both sides of that emotional coin, so to speak. I want you to give yourself the space to name and identify each emotion that you're feeling. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was in a really busy week. My husband had actually just had surgery. It's minor, he's fine. But it meant that he was out of commission. So I was trying to do everything for my business, trying to do everything for the house, running all the carpools, doing all the things. It was a really busy week for me. And I got a phone call that my mom was really not feeling well, like really, really not feeling well, and probably needed to go to urgent care, which ended up in like 12 hours in the emergency room and her being admitted to the hospital. So she honestly needed me. My mom doesn't drive anymore, and I'm her sole caretaker. So on the way over, I had to drop everything, call my mother-in-law to have her see if she could get the kids to sports team practices, all the things, and ask my husband, who was on heavy painkillers, should not be driving, to do one of the carpools for the boys. And on the way over to get her, I was feeling a lot of feelings. I was frustrated, and I was mad, and I was annoyed, and I was concerned about her, and sad that this is like the 5th time in 2.5 years that I've had to take her to the emergency room, right? Like, there was a lot of feelings, but also love, right? I love my mom, and I have a very close relationship with her. So on the drive over there, I really allowed myself to name those feelings that were coming up. And I just said in the car out loud, I'm feeling frustrated that this had to happen this week. I am so tired of this. I am so worried about her. I am concerned for her. I love her. And by going through and giving myself just those 10 minutes that it took on the drive over to get her to name all of these conflicting feelings, it meant that when I showed up at her house, I was in a much more regulated state of being. And I was able to walk in with my own energy in alignment and check, so that I didn't come in and snap with her like, well, let's take you to the emergency room again. And, I'm so tired of doing this, Mom. Can't you, take care of yourself better, or, whatever, right? Like, instead of snapping at her because I hadn't processed my emotions, I was able to walk in and be grounded. Yes, it sucked. Yes, it was terrible timing. Yes, it was a big monkey wrench, but she wasn't doing it on purpose. And so I needed to have my stuff in order so that I could be a support to her, as opposed to making her feel worse about the situation. I had to be responsible for my own emotions and not put that onto her. So this process of allowing yourself to name and identify each of the emotions that you're feeling allows them to drain away much more quickly than if I had just stuffed them down, right? I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't feel frustrated. This is why I moved her here. I knew what I was doing when I took all this on, right? You don't want to just jam all of those feelings back in. By allowing myself the 10 minutes to name them and process through those emotions, I was able to show up with a neutral emotional load when I got to her house. So just this first step here of naming your emotions is going to go so far in settling into the space where we can hold these two conflicting emotions at the same time. The other thing that I did was really give myself the chance to feel those emotions. In the moment, I only had 10 minutes on the drive over there, so naming them and giving myself just a minute or so was all that I had. But when I got home, I allowed myself to fully process it. I took the half an hour and really sat with my sadness and my disappointment and my exhaustion and my frustration and my love for her and concern and wanting her to be healthy and live the last few years that she has as a vibrant, full being. So really giving myself the space to do that meant that Again, I processed it in half an hour instead of it being something that I was stuck in a loop with for days or weeks. The fourth thing that I want you to do, beyond knowing that you're not alone, naming these things, naming your emotions, and allowing yourself to feel them, the fourth thing is to create no stories and no judgment about the feelings that well up. I didn't say, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. Oh, it's a blessing to have my mom so close, or what have you, right? If you're deep into grief, I lost my father a couple of years ago, and I was the oldest daughter, so took care of a lot of things and was deep in grief, but also finding joy in other parts of my life, with my new business that I had just started, and with my children who are funny and loving and vibrant, and a wonderful relationship that I have with my husband. I didn't say, oh, my dad just died. I shouldn't allow myself these moments of happiness. I shouldn't allow myself these moments of joy. I allowed myself to fully feel both of them, which meant that I moved through both of those feelings much quicker. A lot of time, the most pain that we feel around emotions is the story that we're telling ourselves about the emotion. So it's not that feeling tired is the problem. It's us having a story that you shouldn't feel tired. You haven't done enough to feel tired. You haven't earned this feeling of being tired. You shouldn't be tired. You just slept 10 hours. Why are you tired again? So the mental chatter that happens on the backside of feeling the feeling is what's really causing you the distress, and what really causes you to spiral, right? So if we can stop that message that we're telling ourselves, stop that negative perception of whatever it is, and just allow the feeling to be, the faster you're going to move through it, and the less that feeling is going to hurt. So whether it's about getting divorced, right? That I shouldn't get divorced, that I'm wrong for being divorced, that I'm whatever, that I suck at being divorced, and I will never have another relationship, or I'm not built for long-term relationships, or whatever the story is, the judgment is that you're passing on this just fact that you have gotten divorced. That's where the pain comes in mentally. That's where the suffering comes in. It's not in the actual feeling or in the actual situation. It's in our interpretation of it. So can you see it as newfound freedom? Can you see it as an opportunity to really learn about yourself? Those types of things, as opposed to passing this negative judgment and having this condemning story about it. One of the tools that I really like to use, and we're going to bring into the guided meditation here at the end of this episode, is this conference table metaphor. So allowing yourself the space to explore each feeling means, if you are sitting at the head of a conference table, inviting each of the feelings that you're feeling to come in and have a seat at the conference table, so that they get to be seen and heard in a safe environment, just like you want to be seen and heard in a safe environment. Extending that to your emotions, allowing yourself to embody this grounded character of your higher self, the you that is having a human experience, the you that is connected to source. If you can even just pretend to embody that version of you, and then invite these other emotions, these other parts of yourself to this conference room. And then give yourself the opportunity to ask, anger, I see that you're here. What do you need me to understand? What do you need me to hear? What's your message for me? Oh, I need better boundaries in this part of my life. Okay, anger, thank you for showing me that. Grief, I see that you're here. What's the message that you need me to hear? What do you need to say to me? Oh, you really miss that person. Thank you for sharing that with me. And then moving over to the conflicting emotion side of things so that you can say, I see you, Joy. What do you need me to hear? There is life after this. And there are so many other beautiful relationships that I have. And my loved one would not want me to not experience joy and love now that they're gone. Thank you, Joy. I hear you. So by giving yourself the space to hear all of those messages, then you have the opportunity to step back from them. Again, playing that character, even if you have to pretend and you don't feel it, of that higher self, that version of you that is having this experience, but isn't stuck in that experience. Then once you have heard from all of the feelings and emotions and parts of you that you have invited to come to this table with you, then you get the space to be the leader. You get the space to share back with them what you need. And whether that's setting a boundary with yourself or just the space to say, I understand that all of you are present here, and now is not the moment where I can spend more time with you. Let's say, I see you, I hear you, and I need everyone to chill out for a second so that I can go into the real world, not my mental world, and take care of the things that I need to take care of. But I promise I will be back to spend more time here so that I can gain more understanding and fully process all of the emotions that are present. Or maybe you need to say, anger, I see that you're here. And also, there's nothing we can do about it now. Anger, this is not the most productive feeling for right now. Anger, I know that you're just trying to keep me safe. And if I stay angry, then maybe I won't feel the grief and it protects me from the joy. But anger, you don't get to run my life right now. And then you get to call the meeting and say, okay, this meeting is over. I thank you everybody for showing up. I've heard what you had to say. I'm going to take it under consideration and I'll get back to you. Just like a CEO would do with a board meeting, right? So then after you've given yourself the space to hear the messages from your feelings, share anything that's coming up for you, then take some practical action if that is what you're being led to do, especially around setting boundaries, either with yourself or with others. Do you need to set some boundaries so that you can reclaim more of your time and energy so that you don't feel so exhausted? Do you need to ask for help so that you don't feel angry that all of the tasks are falling to you? Do you need more joy and more connection? So can you ask for that in other parts of your life? giving yourself this opportunity to integrate and actually put into action the messages that you receive during your time with your inner boardroom is the key to making changes that are really going to support you in the situation and in the moment that you're in. I want to come back to this one point before we go into the breathwork and guided meditation. Feeling two conflicting emotions and also, and both. Both are true. This feeling is so human and it is so normal and it is just the way it is. So honing this skill of holding space for both feelings and allowing them both to flow through you is going to help you regulate your nervous system better. Remember, a regulated nervous system, a balanced nervous system is not about never feeling bad. It's not about not feeling anger, not feeling frustration, not feeling these things and only staying in the other end of the spectrum, right? Of those feelings of joy and happiness and peace and tranquility. No. A balanced nervous system means that you can experience the highs and experience the lows and come quickly back to equilibrium. And you know how to process and hold space for both and bring yourself back to a space of neutrality, of having felt these feelings, having acknowledged them, moved through them, and then you're back in alignment with who you are and how you want to move through the world. So the more you can normalize the fact that you feel conflicting emotions, and they are both valid, and they both get to be here at the same time, the less you are going to suffer from feeling those feelings. Okay, let's dive into that meditation, that conference table meditation here. It's going to be a very, very gentle meditation with a little bit of breathing added in, but not enough that I'm worried about it. I will say, however, that if you are driving in a car or in the bathtub or someplace where you're not completely safe and can't fully relax, pause the podcast, bookmark it, come back to it tonight, come back to it again and again and again, as many times as you need to walk through the feelings that you're feeling so that you can grow your capacity to hold space for both of them at the same time. So make sure that you are safe and go ahead and get settled. All right. Settle in. Allow your eyes to gently close, or maybe just soften your focus, whatever is comfortable for you. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. One more, just like that. Inhale through the nose. And with your exhale, really make some sound. Allow your chest and your shoulders to drop. Maybe even rolling your shoulders up and then down, back, trying to slide your shoulder blades into the back pockets of your pants. Giving yourself the opportunity to open across your chest, to feel that expansion, giving yourself more space to breathe. Deep breath in. Let it all go. As you turn your attention inward. scanning your body here, starting with your mind. Just noticing what feelings, what thoughts are present. You're not going to do anything about them just yet. We're just taking inventory of what's here. Remembering that you're going to pass no judgment and create no stories about anything that you find. Just give yourself the space to acknowledge any thoughts or feelings that you find. On your next inhale in, I want you to allow your awareness to follow your breath from your head down through your throat and into your heart space. That's right. Noticing along the way what's present in these two spaces. In your throat space, what messages are stuck here and have not been fully communicated? How does your throat feel? Is it tight? Does it feel constricted? Or did your breath flow smoothly through an open channel? Deep breath in again. Let it all go. Checking in with that heart space now. Allowing yourself to fully accept whatever it is that you find. Give yourself the space here to allow everything to bubble up. Trusting your intuition, trusting your subconscious to bring you the things that you need to hear from, the parts of you that need your attention right here, right now. If it helps, think of them as children in a preschool. Soft and tender and needing loving guidance from you. The you that is connected to Source. This highest version of you that is aligned with who you want to be, with the future you that has skills and resources, that knows that you're going to get through this and that this too shall pass. Allow yourself to connect with that true kernel of who you are. Deep breath in, bringing that essence even deeper into yourself. And releasing with your exhale the expectations and judgments that might still be lingering here. I invite you to envision yourself stepping into a room with a gorgeous table and chairs surrounding it. This room is beautifully and richly appointed, perfectly suited for you to feel calm and safe. This is your sanctuary, the place where you can be honest with yourself, honest with your emotions, and all the parts of you that show up. I invite you to take a seat around that table and begin to invite with curiosity and no judgment for the parts of you that need attention to show up here now. Ask them to take a seat across from you, to your left and to your right, greeting them by name as they come and sit at the table. Hello, grief. Hello, anxiety. Welcome, anger. I'm glad you came. I'm ready to listen. Hello, joy and relief. And when they've all shown up, when they've all sat down, give yourself the space to receive the messages that each of these individual emotions or parts of you might need to share. Continuing to breathe deeply and slowly in through your nose, out through your mouth. Giving each emotion the chance to be seen and heard and not judged. And maybe you find that one of them just needs to be seen and acknowledged. They just need for you to know that they're there and allow them to be there. That's it. Allowing whatever thoughts occur to you to come, trusting that these are the messages from yourself and from your emotions. Not judging anything that comes through right now. Your job is to just hold space as the leader, to hear everyone's input right now. And when every emotion, every part of you has had an opportunity, I invite you to share your wisdom as the leader of this group. What have you heard? What's the wisdom that you've received from these parts of you, from these emotions? And what do you know to be true? The you that is aligned with your higher self and source. What do you know that perhaps this emotion doesn't know? And that if you shared with it, maybe things would feel better, would be resolved. This is the time where you can ask for support, where you can ask for help from these different parts of yourself, where you can thank these parts of you, where you can thank grief for reminding you of how deeply you loved, where you can thank your anger for keeping you safe, and where you can thank joy for reminding you that you're not alone. Whatever is present, share your wisdom here. And when you're finished, gently end the meeting by thanking all the parts of you for showing up. And as they drift out of this room and you are left, just you, this highest version of you that is tapped into your future self and source, I want you to take this last moment for yourself. The invitation is to bring a hand to your heart, if that would feel supportive. As you really allow yourself to sink into the feeling of gratitude. Being so grateful to yourself for showing up here today, for giving yourself the space to feel, and recognizing that all of these emotions are valid, that you're having a normal experience. And perhaps you find that you are so thankful that you know what to do now and how to support yourself through this time of feeling conflicting emotions. Take a deep breath in through the nose. When you're ready, let it go. Allowing yourself to turn back to your heart space. Noticing what's present now, what may have shifted, what may have been released. Your next inhale in, moving your awareness back up into your mind. Checking in there as well. Remembering that we are attaching no stories and passing no judgment on whatever it is that we find. We're just noticing with loving curiosity and acceptance of what's here right now. Deep breath in. Let it all go. One more, just like that. Deep breath in. Let it all go. Slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the world outside of you. Bringing gentle movement into your fingers and your toes. Maybe rolling your wrists and your ankles. Taking a big stretch. As you settle back into the here and now. When you're ready, if you closed your eyes, opening them, giving yourself a moment to reorient back to the environment that you're in. I hope that you found this guided meditation supportive. Know that you can come back to it whenever you'd like. And just trust that no matter what emotions come up for you in any given moment, leaning into the and both are true, and both get to be here. And also, the more you lean into that, the more you give your space to feel all of these feelings, the less suffering you feel on the back end. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of From Root to Crown. I'll see you next week.